longest established management consulting firm, and they have recently published their 21st edition of a booklet entitled Tomorrow's Customers. This booklet examines trends in the Canadian marketplace, such as what products and services are expected to be the hottest sellers in the next 10 years. And in a moment, we'll meet one of the partners of Woods Gordon, who will tell us more about this booklet and about his career as a management consultant. So stay tuned for Careers. Hello, I'm Peter Wolfl, and welcome to Careers. Today's guest is Ian Gordon, a partner with Woods Gordon Management Consultants, and he works in their marketing group. And he also co-authored the booklet Competing for Tomorrow's Customers. He has an electrical engineering degree and an MBA, and his work experience includes 5 years in industry and 7 years in consulting. Right now, he consults corporate executives in primarily 4 areas. The first is defining new product opportunities. Analyzing the competition is a second, finding opportunities for improved customer satisfaction, and finally, assisting companies entering the U.S. market. Welcome to Careers, Ian.
Hi, Peter.
To start off, maybe you can tell us why consulting? Why did you enter this particular line of work?
I guess the main reason is I wanted to help companies grow. I wanted to create wealth. I wanted to have an impact in my society, and I felt that consulting would be an appropriate avenue to do those kinds of things, as well as to benefit from a wide variety of different experiences and to benefit from a wide variety of different skills that I would gain as a result of doing this kind of work.
Mm-hmm. But you waited a while before getting into consulting. You were working in industry for a while, right?
Right. I practiced as an engineer initially, and I worked in marketing and strategic planning for a multinational corporation in Canada before deciding that I'd like to work in the consulting environment.
Did you find that that experience was useful in your current line of work?
I don't think I could have done it without. I don't think that you can really make the transition from school to a consulting environment without having actually consulted, because I think the empathy for the client would not be there. You wouldn't have known how to help people because you've never faced those kinds of problems yourself.
Right. So would management consulting firms usually look for that kind of experience before hiring a new consultant?
Typically, management consultants hire at 2 different levels. When they hire more junior staff, they might hire people straight out of school, but typically it would be difficult to make the jump between a research position to a consulting position. In order to work as a consultant, one typically has to have had 4 to 5 years in an industry, in government, or in a service capacity.
Mm-hmm. So typically, what does a management consultant do?
Well, it varies. In our company, we have people who mirror every aspect of the clients who they serve. So you would have computer consulting who would provide computer consulting skills to the MIS departments in companies. We would have human resource people consulting to the human resource clients. We have operations management, we have marketing group, we have a strategy management group, and we have a financial planning practice. So each one of essentially every position within a company would be covered off somewhere within our organization.
Would you say that companies typically hire you because you're trying to solve some problem that they don't know how to do, or because they don't have the time to do it themselves?
A bit of both.
Really?
Frequently people have a to-do list, and there are always some things that are important that are time-consuming, but they never get around to doing it, and they might frequently hire us. Sometimes the issues are of such a scale that it's very difficult to divert the resources that they have available internally to handle those kinds of problems. So they might hire us under those circumstances too.
What do you like the best about your job?
Variety and challenge. The work is extremely time-consuming, which is the negative side of that. Mm-hmm. But the good side is that the demanding side is that once you achieve results, and you can actually see the results over a period of time. New products come to market, clients enter the United States market, their customers are better satisfied, their market share grows. These kinds of things are very rewarding.
And what do you like least about your job?
I guess it's the amount of time that it requires. We work typically 60 or 70-hour weeks. Of that, we typically bill maybe 25 or 30 hours, perhaps 35 hours a week.
So the customer is getting a good deal.
The customer gets a very good deal. Yeah.
Okay. Now, the consultants that work for your company, would they be paid a fixed salary per year, or would they be paid a commission based on the work that they bring in?
Our company focuses exclusively on the quality of the work. We feel that if we were to pay our employees on the basis of a commission, that might undermine the quality of the work and get them to focus more on bringing the work in the door. So we're paid exclusively on a salary basis.
I see. And what would typically a consultant make? Let's say, first of all, a new one just joining a company, and then also at the other extreme, somebody who's been around for many years.
Well, the consultants in the open market would have a very wide range of salaries. It's sort of like saying how long is a piece of string. The individual consultants who work for themselves might earn anywhere between perhaps 20,000 to over 100,000. Those that work for a major management consulting firm might earn somewhere near in the middle. Towards either end of the spectrum, they would more likely be compacted towards the middle.
I see. Okay, can you tell us a bit more about your company, Woods Gordon, and about their background?
Sure. It's part of Clarkson Gordon, which this year celebrates its 125th anniversary. It was established 125 years ago now. Woods Gordon has been in business since 1932. We are over 300 professionals in our firm. We consult in virtually every management discipline within a client's organization. We have an arrangement with Arthur Young International whereby we have an international network of consultants that are available to us in some 84 countries around the world. 30,000 staff are available to us who we draw on international consulting assignments. So we're able to bring an international perspective to our clients' problems. Woods Gordon is national in scope across Canada. We have offices in every major city. And within the marketing group, we have 30 professionals, again, located in the major centers across Canada. And we assist clients in 4 major areas: penetrate their current markets, expand into new markets, introduce new products, and diversify their businesses.
So it really is very marketing oriented.
Certainly within our marketing group, that's our reason for being, to create wealth, to help clients grow.
Okay, great. What does it take to become a partner in a consulting firm?
Many years of good work, I guess.
Is it really typically based upon their expertise and their track record?
Our firm is a meritocracy. It works exclusively by capability, and that's it. That's all there is.
So they put the best at the top. And then once you are offered a partnership, do you have to make an investment in the company?
Most consulting firms work on the basis that you would buy a certain amount of shares in the partnership.
I see. Okay, now you also continue to lecture at York University. How does that fit in with your current career?
I've been lecturing at York University for, I guess, about 5 or 6 years now. I find that's an opportunity to talk about what I love, marketing, to help students, to help turn them on, to introduce the marketing concept to a whole new generation each year. And I find that therapeutic and a hobby. Perhaps some people collect stamps. I enjoy lecturing marketing.
Time to talk about your publication. Competing for Tomorrow's Customers. Now, maybe you can tell us a bit about the background of this publication. It's the 21st edition, so it's been around a while. And what really is the purpose behind it?
The objective is to introduce our clients to emerging changes in economic conditions and market conditions so that they can adjust to the changes and prepare themselves now for a new future. We do this that's a free service of the firm for our clients and friends of the firm, to introduce some of the major changes that we see underway. And there are a number of them. Some of those that we talk about include the fact that that markets are becoming increasingly international in scope, that technology is proliferating, that suppliers are proliferating, that markets are fragmenting, that distribution is becoming increasingly competitive to get the attention and share of mind of the distributor, of the middleman. we talk about the fact that with all these kinds of changes that I've just mentioned, product differentiation is going down, price competition is increasing, and on balance, taking the whole thing together as a basket, competition is now more intense than ever. And that's the premise of this particular publication. The whole focus is on competition, on the supply side orientation, not exclusively on the demand side orientation, which has been the case for the previous 20 years that we've produced this publication.
Are you finding that this publication kind of gets your customers' juices flowing, and then they want to have some more consulting from you as a result after reading it, and they want some more information?
Well, the objective is to introduce some ideas that people might be thinking about in the context of their business.
Right.
If they would like additional information from us or additional support, of course, we're there to provide it.
Sure. Okay, great. Tell us about some of the trends that are currently affecting the consumer marketplace over the next 10 years. I guess you were mentioning that exports and investment spending are going to become more important for increased economic growth.
Yes, well, clearly exports drives something approaching 30% of our GDP. Canada is a trading nation. We have to live and grow by increasing our exports, so it was natural that we would focus on the United States as being our closest and most major trading partner, that we would seek to develop export opportunities into that market. It
really is becoming a global marketplace.
The marketplaces and investment opportunities are increasingly international. In fact, for Canadian firms to grow and survive, certainly there's a mid-range of firms that if they don't export, if they don't develop themselves internationally, maybe through non-Canadian locations, there may yet come a time when they can't compete domestically because they don't have the economies of scale or scope to keep their cost structures in line domestically, and they will be undermined by international competitors.
Right.
Certainly, even within niche markets, Canadian firms often say, we'll find a niche and we'll be at home in that niche, and foreign competitors won't touch us. We'll be too small. We won't be interesting enough for that niche. Increasingly, as markets fragment and supplies proliferate, everybody's looking at a whole variety of different niches. And even the niche people have to be looking more abroad.
But I guess it's even conceivable that a company may do better abroad than they might do domestically because of increased internal competition here within Canada.
That may well be the case.
That may save them one day. The fact that their other operations are still making them money.
That's right. And in fact, multinationals have long worked on the basis of a portfolio of different markets and investment opportunities, yeah.
The booklet also mentions that wealthy Canadians are going to become prime targets. Why would that be?
Yeah, I guess we talked about the wealthy Canadians in the context of 5 major trends that are shaping the Canadian marketplace. We see population growing at around 1% a year for the foreseeable future. In that kind of environment, the consumer marketplace will be driven by growth in selected segments within the consumer marketplace, because as a whole it's not going to be growing dramatically. So where are those pockets of growth?
Ian, can we hold that statement?
Sure.
We're going to take a short break right now. When we return, we'll return with Ian Gordon, management consultant from Woods Gordon, talking about his booklet, Competing for Tomorrow's Customers. Okay. Joining us today on Careers is Ian Gordon, who co-authored the booklet entitled Competing for Tomorrow's Customers. And for the benefit of you new viewers, let's show you a little bit of a clip right now which further describes this booklet.
Since the dawn of man's understanding, we have attempted to see past the mists of time into the future, to predict the outcome of the hunt, forecast the weather, and foretell the fortunes of war. Our innate curiosity and inquisitive temperament has led us out of the swamps and into the concrete jungles, taking our need to predict the future into the age of technology. In this kaleidoscopic era, change is the only constant, dramatically altering the way business must conduct itself from year to year. In our lifetime, we glimpse an incredible array of new and different factors that to our forefathers would seem inconceivable, even cataclysmic. To succeed in this frantic environment and to profit from change takes a comprehensive perception of market conditions. Tomorrow's Customers examines key elements, defines and analyzes important trends.
Okay, back to our question before we took the break. Why are wealthy Canadians becoming a target for marketing?
Well, because they represent a disproportionate amount of demand in certain product categories and certain services. For example, financial institutions obviously have to target the wealthy, but people don't realize that frequently in some categories they can represent up to half of total demand in terms of bank interest and bond interest received. The elderly and the wealthy represent disproportionately significant amounts of demand in terms of the amount of expenditures on gifts and charitable contributions. They also represent close to half of total contributions.
The book also says that they are the opinion leaders in many cases.
Frequently, there are innovators and imitators in most market categories. The wealthy frequently are the innovators because they clearly have the wealth to
by
adopt
innovators,
products.
What do you mean by innovators?
They're the ones who pick up on demand initially.
Okay.
So when you talk about home fax machines or cellular telephones in cars, frequently it will be the wealthy.
They take the risk
that
to
will
try something new.
That have perhaps the ability to take the risk, and if they lose, perhaps it'll be less significant.
Okay. The book mentions that they expect a steady growth of personal computer sales as well.
Personal computer sales are likely to grow, as indeed are a wide variety of different technologies that are strategic to businesses. Increasingly, information technology as a whole has moved out of the realm of being a management control and security capability to a linkage between firms and their customers and their suppliers and their middlemen. And all technology that provides for that kind of capability is likely to grow quite strongly. Technology like EDI, electronic data interchange.
Well, facsimile equipment is growing
equipment.
as well. I've heard that the fax machine is expected probably to be a household item, just like the microwave or the video camera, by the year 2000.
I think it'll be sooner than that. If you go to Japan, there's such a proliferation of fax machines that you'd find that it'd probably be sooner than that.
Okay. The book mentions lower productivity growth. Why would that be?
Well, Canada as a whole has actually improved its productivity since the period 1976 through 1982. Since the recession, we've improved our productivity, but it's still lagging behind many of our major trading partners. Countries such as Japan and West Germany, although their productivity has declined, it's still significantly in excess of ours. We've been slow to adopt advanced technology in the plant floor. We've been slow to adopt advanced technology in the workplace. Our lifestyle is such that it hasn't been as conducive to productivity growth, and the structure of the economy is such that it hasn't been supportive of too much growth in productivity in terms of the structure of the various segments of the economy.
But as more of this technology is being absorbed by the users here, wouldn't that improve?
It will improve over time, but whether or not it will improve more than our major trading partners is not yet clear.
Right.
Unless it improves faster than their productivity rates are growing, our standard of living is not going to increase.
Still at a disadvantage.
Right.
1/3 of the Canadian population are baby boomers, born between 1945 and 1965. What kind of a segment or opportunities do they present?
Well, clearly, because of their sheer numbers and now their growing earning power, they're entering their peak earning years now, and they represent obviously a very important category of demand. The trouble is that most marketers tend to think of the baby boomers as one group, and any relationship between somebody in their early 40s and somebody in their late 20s in terms of total purchase patterns, in terms of where they are in their life, in terms of their requirements, in terms of the criteria by which they select, there would be no similarity. So it makes more sense to divide them at least into two groups, and what we've done in this publication is to think in terms of the Diefenbakers and the Saint Laurents, those that were born according to who was Prime Minister at when they were born, and it works out to dividing the baby boomers roughly into half, and we found that those that were born during the reign of Saint Laurent, during the time of Saint Laurent, would have been much more experiential, and their purchases reflect more a desire to spend on self, whereas the Diefenbakers have a desire to spend more on physical possessions. There seems to be difference in attitude and requirement.
Which group are the yuppies?
Yuppies are actually a fairly narrow segment of the population. We tend to think of yuppies as being descriptive of baby boomers. In fact, US studies show that they're somewhat less than 10% of the total population. And to think of yuppies as being descriptive of the total boomer market runs the real risk of positioning your business inappropriately to that whole baby boomer segment. In fact, most baby boomers don't drive BMWs. They don't have a second Porsche in the driveway. They don't go on vacations to the Himalayas and so on. Most baby boomers continue to shop at Sears and live in Scarborough.
So yuppies is still a small market segment.
A small market segment and perhaps something that has been over-popularized.
Okay. Senior citizens are living longer, and I guess they have increasing earning power, or rather, increasing spending power, I should say. I imagine they're going to be a big opportunity for many marketers.
I think you're absolutely right. It's very clear that as the society ages, those that are 55 and older, 65 and older will become not only growing numbers, but they have more money at their disposal now than ever before. Their total wealth is growing significantly. And the whole notion of to be old is to be poor is now, that stereotype is now fundamentally broken.
Okay. A few more trends that were mentioned. Because we're running out of time, I just want to say that it says that 60% of married women in the workforce are in the workforce, and they're an increasing percentage. Of them are getting into management and professional jobs. So that's another big segment, I guess, right?
Yeah, we've titled that session, "The Boss and Her and Her Husband Are Coming to Dinner."
Okay, and there will be more management and professional jobs and fewer clerical jobs.
That's right. Over time, that's likely to happen. One of the problems we've got as a society, as we're moving from a goods-producing society to a service production society, is that the rate of wages, the hourly rate, is declining from goods production through service production. As a society, then, there's a potential for us to become increasingly impoverished as we become service producers. The challenge will be to find the high value-added services rather than the lower value-added services if we want to participate, to be financially self-sustaining in the service sector.
The book says that there's going to be more service-oriented jobs than product-oriented jobs. But unfortunately, those seem to be the ones that paid lower wages.
That's exactly the point, that frequently they're to be found in the hospitality industry, for example. But some of the growth sectors, like services to business management, is a growth sector.
Consulting.
Consulting might be one segment of that.
Right.
And that would tend to pay a little bit better.
And it even says more cooperation between unions and management. Is that true?
Well, unions are feeling the same competitive pressure as business. They're competing now for market share. They're merging with one another. They're taking over one another's members. And we see this routinely in the press. The reason for this is the same reason that the same pressures that management is experiencing, that you have to fight for market share in order to grow your area of responsibility or your power base. In an environment where there is international competition, the conflict between management and unions no longer will allow people to, the economy as a whole will flounder under that kind of environment. So it's a necessity. We have to sink or swim together.
Right. As a result of the trends that we mentioned earlier, what are going to be the hottest products in Canada in the next 10 years?
Well, some of them will be upscale baby products to cater to the two-income households, spending more on just one or two children. Some of them will be technology as toy. Some of them will be customized products. Some of them will be the products that cater to the re-emergence of style, which we see in our economy. Convenience will be an important benefit, and products catering to that benefit with two-income earning households will likely do well.
What kind of services are going to become popular?
A wide variety of different services, database management services, services that Canadian firms historically have not done particularly well in, financial supermarkets, mega stores, very large stores, and perhaps employee leasing.
Right. How can companies take advantage of the current free trade agreement?
Two different thoughts here. One is to defend against U.S. competitors entering their marketplaces. Two is to attack and enter U.S. markets. So they have to think in terms, in the attack scenario, they have to think in terms of which U.S. market they're going to enter. There are about 9, each one of which is about the size of Canada, and they have to understand that market very well. Distribution in the market, competition in the market, total demand, market segmentation. Have to analyze, do their homework, and then enter. To defend, they have to make sure they're maximizing customer satisfaction, that the customers will not want to switch, and they have to understand their customers now better than they ever have before. They also have to understand their channels of distribution better than they ever have before, because if US competitors can't get a point of entry into the channels of distribution, it's likely that they can keep their market position.
Okay, Ian. Before we go, tell us about how our viewers can get a copy of this book, Competing for Tomorrow's Customers.
They can call us at 864-1212, and we'd be pleased to send them a copy.
Okay, that's great. Thank you very much, Ian, for joining us on Careers.
Thanks, Peter.
I'm Peter Wolfl, and from all of us here at the studio, good luck in your own career. But even if it just reaches the Graham viewing audience, it's reaching to